Ceann Comhairle, as a government, we acknowledge there is much to do. We acknowledge there is much progress that we need to make in the rest of our mandate. But in the motion that this government is putting forward this evening, we also make the case for what we have achieved. We also make the case for what we have delivered during 2 years of unprecedented challenge for our country. Our country facing record levels of unemployment at a time in which our global economy, our world, was grappling with a pandemic. Where we are now, we're now in a position where we've never had more people at work in our country than we do today. Where we were at the start of our mandate, having to borrow huge amounts of money to put in place economic supports that worked, that saved our economy, that created jobs. Where are we today with national finances that are approaching balance, with health and resilience back in our national finances? If you look at where we were when we came in to office, with health services confronted by a pandemic without any precedent, where we are now, with 800 more beds being built, being opened up in our health services to help us provide the care that we know our country needs. When we opened up, when this government came to office, with our construction sector closed, as part of the measures that we need to put in place to keep our country safe from a pandemic, where we are now, with 30,000 homes being commenced, 30,000 homes that will provide homes, a roof over the head, to families, to renters, to tenants who we know need and deserve homes, which this government is committed to delivering. I listened very carefully to the speech that was given by the Leader of the Opposition here this afternoon. And I have to say, Ceann Comhairle, rarely have I heard a speech delivered so full of attack, so lacking in content, as I heard here this afternoon. I listened carefully to what Deputy Mary Lou MacDonald had to say here this evening. She talked about the need to change. In the 15 minutes that were open to you, you proposed one solution. What was that solution? A tax credit. That's what the solution was. And Ceann Comhairle, I have to say, for anybody in our country looking for change, looking for radical reform, they will not find it in the speech delivered by Deputy MacDonald this afternoon. And what was equally conspicuous in lacking in that speech was what wasn't mentioned. No mention of COVID. No mention of a war in Ukraine. No mention of an economy, of the value of jobs, and shamefully, no mention of Brexit. Well, that kind of an approach might work when you're leading an opposition. That kind of approach might work when you're more interested in the content of a social media video than you are in the content of a policy. But Ceann Comhairle, it will not work if you are looking to lead a country. It will not work. And it points to the greater void at the heart of Sinn Féin policies here. They want more rental accommodation to be built. They demonise landlords of anybody who looks to provide it. They want to make progress on climate change. They're against any measure, particularly difficult measures, that are needed to do it. They want to abolish the local property tax here. They hike it in the north. They want to make progress on the cost of living challenge. 1 week they're in favour of targeted measures, the next week they're in favour of broad measures. And Ceann Comhairle, has there ever been a darker act of humour in recent Irish politics than Sinn Féin publishing a private member's bill to control social media trolls? Has there ever been a darker moment of irony when that party brought that measure forward? But amidst the odd hint of a policy than we hear from Sinn Féin, it points to the darker and more difficult truth. A party that's negative on Europe, a party that is indifferent to investment, and a party that always sees income in our country as something to be spent and never earned. Deputy Mary Lou MacDonald's speech this afternoon showed an awareness of my work for making a speech here, for putting forward a case in a private member's motion, but it showed no recognition of the challenges that this country face, and to end with a claim of optimism. How hollow a note to end on. This government knows there's much to do. We know we have much to achieve. This is a historic government with different politicians in it, with 3 different parties, but we are united in a view in how we can make progress that we will make.
Mr. Harris.